Hey guys, we're going to be going back to the Looming wall for an all mission clear. This is going to be a cheaper team than my original team. We're going to hard mode. So the missions are no KOs, 5 turns or less, party of 4 or less. So for this boss, it's a stone enemy. You want to use ice, lightning, or wind damage. And it seems like all the boss really does is single target physical damage, which you can provoke and evade, and then single target Petrify, which you can immune. If you don't kill him in, I think, 6 turns, he reaches your party and it's game over. But, 6 turns or less is pretty easy to do. We're going for 5 turns or less for the all mission clear. We're only going to take 3 units. You can definitely take more. The mission is for 4 or less. But all we really need is 3. We're going to use Kurasame to basically just solo the fight for us. Chaining with Elena for Sword in Peril, and then Jesse for Entrust and a little bit of support. So the boss can't be defense or spirit broken, and if you evade the physical, there's no point to break the attack or magic, so you don't really need a breaker, although Jesse does auto break. So we're going to do Bravery, Faith, and then just Refurbished Grenade on the boss with Jesse. And then we're going to use the LB of Kurasame, and then Elena is going to chain her Magnus to imperil the boss, to Sword Imperil, and then chain. Now, if your Kurasame is not EX2, you can either bring someone to entrust him on turn 1, like Bart, Shira, Madame Adele, Neovisions, etc., or you could just chain his regular skills on turn 1. It won't really matter that much. We have 5 turns to do this, so we should be fine here. We're just going to go ahead and chain this up with our Kurasame. Okay, decent damage. His LB is backloaded, as you can tell. So there's the single target stuff on Jessie. She's provoking. She's immune to stone with the gear I've given her. We're going to go ahead and use her to entrust over here to Kurasame. Now, if her LB gauge wasn't big enough to get Kurasame again, like I said, you can just triple chain Icicle Flash. It'll do less damage, obviously, but we're going to do it this way. So we're going to go ahead and chain these two again. Pretty much the same thing we just did. Just for more damage, Oh, the chain broke there. Kind of unfortunate. Because the chain broke, the big cap at the end, it didn't actually work on Kurasame. But whatever. And as you can see here, at this point, our Jesse did not get enough LB gauge to entrust over to Kurasame. So we'll just use her to Midgar special a few times, and that'll just refill so we can entrust next turn. So Elena will just triple. She's using an ice weapon, by the way. We'll just triple Salvation, and because Kurasame's LB gauge is not good enough, we will just triple Icicle Flash, and we'll just chain these up again. Bolting Strike. This will obviously deal a whole lot less damage than. Yeah, a whole lot less damage. You want to get his LB every single turn. And again, I am using 3 units. I could have brought Shira for guaranteed entrust every single turn, which would have been fine. Then we could have always done the LB on Kurasame. But at this point, his SLB is ready. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, his SLB, keep in mind, is not Bolting Strike frames. His SLB is a single hit. So we're going to use Elena to just triple Bolting here. And then Jesse, I'm sorry, not bolting. Jesse is going to triple SR, and then Elena is going to triple that with Jesse, so SR. And then we're gonna cap that with Kurasame's SOB, and this will be definitely the end of the boss. And there it is, yeah. So the SOB was what did the most damage on this fight. Let's see what the damage breakdown is. 1.9. The boss has 2.1 billion, so his SLB almost did enough by itself. The first 3 turns were just working the boss down a little bit. And if your Kurasame is EX1, SLB is not ready till turn 5. That is not a problem at all. So here's the breakdown. I geared Elena for damage, but she doesn't do damage. Kurasame did everything. And again, the first 3 turns are just a little bit of bonus damage. But his SLB with the gear I gave him was not enough to solo cap it by itself. So let me show you the gear and the team that we used. Alright. And again, I left the party slot empty. This is a 4-man team mission, so bring another finisher, bring someone to entrust Kurosame every single turn, guaranteed. Therefore, you can always do the LB all the turns. Bring whatever you want to help out. But the survival is very easy. All you need to survive is a passive Provoker with Evasion and Petrify immunity. So Petrify immunity, Jessie has passive Provoke naturally. We gave her Evasion. We gave her some LB fill to entrust. It wasn't enough. I was going to use her to quad normal attack to chain bolting strike, but I forgot that she has SR, and we didn't need to do that. So this quad attack build is not relevant. You don't even need to worry about that. But do give her an ice weapon so she elemental chains for helping out. Elena is using an ice weapon. Her damage was completely irrelevant, so the fact that I geared her for damage is almost who cares, because it didn't really matter. But she was a little bit important because we did use her for the piercing prism for the sword in peril. We're using a sword on Kurosame that I'll show you in a second. But yeah, so you do kind of want to get a weapon in peril for whatever you're using. If you're, for example, using like a fist weapon, bring Cacteria. If you're using guns, bring Louise or the original Lightning. You know, whatever you want, but definitely get a good weapon in peril in. And here's the Kurosame we used. I used a few STMRs. I tried to avoid the big limited STMRs like Sora's STMR and all that, but we are using a couple like the scanning goggles and Riku's gloves. But the big thing we're using is the Turfing. It's a two-handed sword with, you know, good variants. You know, early this is a 1.5 variant sword, and we're using Elena for the sword in peril. So that's where we're getting that from. So there we go. Other than that, you know, like I said, I tossed in a few STMRs here, but I tried to avoid like the big premium style STMRs. So kind of budget, not absolute budget, but there you go. And a party slot was empty. Like, I really can't stress that enough. If you're having troubles with this fight, you can even do it in multiple runs. You can bring a 5-man party and just get the speed clear in, and then go back with a 4-man party, and if it takes you an extra turn, that's okay. But don't take too long, because I think if you don't win by turn 6, the boss actually crushes your party, and that would be bad news. But there's an all mission clear on the Demon Wall event. See you in a bit.